Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another week of me trying to be profitable. And this week we had a fun little challenge planned where I try to pass the account within a week or try to get as far in as I can before the rebuild on Thursday, 24th of April. So yeah, let's see how far we can get. Maybe we can even pass the funded account. So yeah, let's have a look. Alright guys, so looking at the high time room today, what we got was price filling in this daily order block, and I was thinking that we could be bullish on the high time room sweep after the low. And I did do some analysis in the weekend and I figured we could see some bullish moves this week because we're filling in the bullish high time room PD arrays, and we also just looked out some weekly sell side draws. And zooming into the low time room, we did develop a lot of highs, so I did think we could target these after price filled in the imbalance more and swept out some sell side liquidity. Though I wanted to see price develop a bit further because it was still quite early to tell for sure. And waiting for price to develop further, price was actually being really weird, with it looking like power for a second with massive wicks to both sides. Though from that development, we did sweep all of the recent LRLs that were developed to the buy side, and we came down disrespecting a newly formed 5-minute fair value gap. And because of that, I wanted to see the reaction of the 5-minute inverse fair value gap and also the new 50-minute order block that was developed. And with some crazy bullish volume coming in, we tapped that key level, and from that I placed a limit order below the 50-minute order block, so if price plummeted, I'll be able to catch that move. It did hit my area where I would theoretically take a snipe, but since volume was so high, I wanted to avoid entering without confirmation. And though price ended up coming down and hitting my entry, and we were in, but not for long though, as price ended up plummeting really quick to hit our partial, and then shortly after our TP for a nice win of $500. And what I liked about today was that I was initially really interested in longs, and I was only really interested in taking it. And though after price developed a bit more and more confidence showed up, I ended up switching to shorts because of the confirmation, which led to a pretty good trade, which otherwise I wouldn't have been able to catch if I remained with a bullish bias. But either way, not a bad start to the week. Alright, so today on the high time room, honestly, I was pretty lost with how this looked. There were a lot of draws on liquidity to the buy side, so I reckon we could target that. Though I did see potential for price to move bearish since we just swept out some buy side LRLs, and we hadn't felt much imbalances from the 50-minute time frame. And because of that, I was thinking we could target the 50-minute fair value gap down below. That would be after the confirmation of a 5-minute break. And this first trade, I'll be honest, I went to the bathroom and I was running back because I remembered that it was market open, and I came back to being railed. But the idea behind this trade was that since price was continuing bullish, I have a sniper when price comes down to the overlap of imbalances, with me using the 5-minute fair value gap plus order block overlap. Since we were in a bullish trend, I thought this would have been alright, though this wasn't the case. So yeah, quick $150 loss to start off the day. And I decided after this trade I wanted to see how price continued developing, and I took a second trade, and this one was the one I was initially thinking of with the shorts, as there was a 5-minute fair value gap disrespect, and I placed a limit at the overlap of imbalances that I like, with there being a 5-minute breaker, 5-minute inverse fair value gap, and other low time frame imbalances. And price ended up tapping the entry, and I was looking pretty good. Price was getting pushed on quite a bit, and it was looking like it was going to hit my first TP, though price ended up rallying with some strong bullish power and came out to hit my stop loss for a quick loss of 350. And after that, I just hit my loss amount of 500, so I just closed the charts after that. And I felt that today I could have prepared myself better throughout the day. It was more because I wasn't keeping up with my good habits today, and honestly just more slacking, so that carried over to my trading, as you can see. With what I could have done better, I was so obviously looking back at it, I feel retarded, especially with the new 50-minute fair value gap developed. But I was too focused on the shorts and not seeing the bigger picture, as well as the new imbalances that are being made. I could have saw that price was starting to respect the 15-minute plus 5-minute fair value gap and waited for the reaction of those levels. And then seeing that it respected on a 1-minute, we could have aimed for a snipe and went for a bullish trade targeting all the buy side liquidity. So yeah, it was pretty obvious looking back. I feel really stupid, but it's okay. I'll note it down and reflect on it so I can come back even better tomorrow. Alright guys, high time is looking pretty bullish currently, and with there being a newly developed new day opening gap which we could possibly retest into, and we did have a lot of liquidity to the buy side which we could target too, so I wanted to remain on buys going into today. And there were quite a few draws on liquidity to the sell side as well on the low time, so depending on how price reacts to the newer imbalances like the 15 and 5-minute fair value gap, I'll make my decision off of that. And I did see that we were reacting to a 1-hour order block, so realistically if I were to go shorts, I would want to see a disrespect of this level where we can then retest. But since there were so many good imbalances like the 5-minute overlaps and the 3-minute order block, I was looking for a more bullish trade. I was planning to snipe the entry at the overlap with the two 5-minute imbalances. Though with some chart lag, I saw that on the 1-minute I had already tapped into the overlap, and because of that I was thinking of placing an order for continuation. I later went against that though, since that would make my risk very large, so I decided on a retracement to the 3-minute order block which was recently developed, which ended up getting hit. And it was pretty slow at the start. We were getting pushed on quite a bit and filling in the 5-minute imbalances more. I guess the previous tap didn't fill enough orders, but we were pretty close to high impact news too, so I was planning on taking out the order before news. enemies. Apparently Waller was speaking before that and he just saved my nuts because holy shit. Price just shot up insanely and hit my partial for a nice win of $850. And from that I moved my stop loss to break even and just let price run. And price stalled for a bit more before coming down to hit my stop loss for break even, bringing us a nice win of $900. And bro, today was insane. Did you guys see that push up? Like I was calculating my wrist size when it happened and I saw it in the corner of my eye and I didn't want to say anything, but bro, holy shit. But yeah, clean day all around. Price respected on balance really nicely and got a nice push up off of it. I think I did really nicely with going off of the more recent balances, which was a good improvement from yesterday. Alright, so looking at the high time frame, we did have a few imbalances to work with. The 4-hour inverse fair value gap being ran through a second time made things a little confusing, though I could tell we were moving bullish because we reacted nicely off the 1-hour order block and we had plenty of strong draws to the buy side. Zooming into the low time frame, we had a few current imbalances to work with, like the 15-minute order block and 5-minute fair value gap, which I wanted to see the reaction off of. Mainly the 15-minute order block, since if I wanted bearish, then I would want to see price disrespect this imbalance mainly. Overall bullish looking pretty strong though, so I'll be looking for that more, but I'll keep an open mind for bearish. I'll also see how price moves depending on the new imbalances developed and make my decision off of that. And after we hit mark open, price ended up breaking through the accumulation to the upside, so I was looking for an entry to longs. There wasn't much of the previous imbalances we noted down earlier, so I went on the 1 minute plus 3 minute time frame. I saw a 3-minute order block being developed and I placed an entry just at the top of the imbalances, which ended up getting hit. We did stall for a little while, but I was confident in the play because we still had the 15-minute order block backing us up. The confidences were stacked up really well. And price did end up respecting these levels and we got a nice push up, quickly hitting our partial for a nice one of 350. And from that I did the usual move, stop loss to break even and let price run, and price ran pretty well, moving up to hit my TP for a nice win of 550. Honestly a really clean day and I'm really happy with how it played out. What I could have done better, I don't know, I really like the entry I had today and the snipe was pretty good. Maybe I could have sniped a little bit lower or lift more runners, but the trade was still pretty clean overall. And I'm pretty happy with the consistency I've had recently, and I'm glad I had Tuesday's loss because honestly that was a pretty good reality check. Made me get my shit together and do better. So following my plan really well and honestly happy with the progress. Alright, so the high time was looking pretty bearish currently with there being a massive imbalances on the 4-hour and 1-hour time frames, so we're pushing down to fill in the imbalances, so I wanted to see if price wanted to continue with the bearish power to fill in the imbalances more or push higher to sweep out the buy side liquidity. And we did have the bullish SMD get developed, so I kept that in mind and I mainly wanted to see the breakthrough from the 5-minute accumulation range. Continued waiting for price to develop and we eventually got a breakthrough past the recent high and the accumulation range, which was what I wanted. The break was not that strong, so I started to hesitate, and because of this I allowed price to hit my original entry and I waited for candle confirmation before entering into a bullish trade. And it was actually going pretty good and price was rallying up really slowly, and I did notice that there was a 1-hour fair value gap blocking our way, and we did break through the 1-hour fair value gap on the 1 minute plus 3 minutes, so I reckon it would be alright, and I did expect a retracement because we have been pretty bullish for a while on the 5 minute. I decided to place an entry for another contract at a new 5 minute plus 3 minute order block developed as I was confident in the trade and I wanted to balance out the entry point for a more better RR. Then after price hit the level, the entry pretty much didn't move at all, so that was all for nothing. But price ended up slowly coming down for after a while, pushing through all the imbalances and hit my stop loss for a loss of 550. And today I honestly could have done a lot better. For one, I could have just sat out today as price was being pretty slow moving and I already had an amazing week. Either that or I should have gone in with confidence and just like the original entry that I wanted. It would have provided a much better fill and worked out much better. I have to have confidence in my model and execute, and so worrying about all the little possibilities that could happen. And we did end up getting Seek and Destroyed in the end, which is pretty unfortunate, but it's whatever. Bias was right, but entry could have been better as well. But yeah, that ends off this week's trades. Alright guys, pretty amazing week we had here. Even though we ended off not how we would have liked, we still had a pretty amazing week nonetheless. And I like the confidence I had in the 3rd and 4th trade I took this week, and I feel like I need to hone in on what made me perform so well those days compared to the others. More confidence, more discipline, whatever it is. I'll look more into it and refine my process and my strategy as well as my outside life more so I can do even better. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the recap. So thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys want to, you can check out me and my friend's small Discord server, which has got a few people in there. It's meant to be a nice environment where we all support each other and just enjoy trading together. So yeah, join up if you guys are interested. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.